All right, good evening, everyone. I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. What time we got? Just about 8:30. Check in on Tropical Storm Idalia. 70-mile-per-hour winds, moving finally to the north at 8 miles per hour. I'm watching the convection. If you look at the convection throughout the day, look at these bursts. They're very close to where this white line is. But if you look at where the convection is now, it's almost to the right of that. We don't want that. Hopefully that's just the angle that we're looking at. If that is the case, that means this is jogged a little bit to the right, and that will shift the entire track further to the right, which would be closer to the peninsula of Florida. So hopefully that is not the case right now. This is visible satellite, so you can see it fade away, but look at the showers and storms starting to come out of this now. That's part of the outer flow around it, and some of those will get into southwest Florida here shortly. But for us, it's just a few isolated showers this evening. Here's the track as of 5 o'clock this evening from the Hurricane Center and the forecast. See this? Hurricane later tonight, probably by 11. We've got recon in there right now, and if they find something, actually, they can go ahead and radio it out. In fact, sometimes the data goes out via satellite from the hurricane hunters straight to the Hurricane Center, and the guys on the plane sometimes don't even know that they've upgraded it because they're just feeding data back. Meanwhile, the Hurricane Center is just doing their work. So 85-mile-per-hour winds tomorrow morning. That's even before the sun comes up. Tomorrow afternoon, 105. That makes it a Cat 2. And then Wednesday morning, before the sun comes up, we're talking, that's about 2 or 3 in the morning, 120-mile-per-hour winds. That's the forecast right now. Cat 3, major hurricane, and so landfall somewhere in this area here from almost Citrus County all the way over to just about the Tallahassee area. And that would be Wednesday morning, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning or so. Remember, just because you're not in the cone doesn't mean you won't see the weather. All right, the cone is only about the center. It has nothing to do with the actual weather. Most of the weather will be on the right side of this, and that's where we are here in the Tampa area. Beyond us, it looks like it wants to curve. It's trying to get picked up by a trough and move across the southeast United States, generally as a tropical storm with around 60-mile-per-hour winds. Now, Recon's in there now. They flew out earlier today out ahead of the storm. It's fantastic. They measured the atmosphere here, put that into the models. Flew into it. Now we got one that came out of South Florida. We got another one came out of Keesler Air Force Base. They just crisscrossed right there, right? So it looks like actually we got 3 in there right now. So yeah, it's crowded in there. And all of that data is going into the forecast models, and we really need that. All right, now, hurricane warnings in the red here. Manatee County all the way up. Does not include Sarasota. We got a tropical storm warning. Just think the winds will be highest the further north you go, especially up towards Citrus County, and especially along the immediate coast. Forecast models. So they've been trending back to the west a little bit. It's been a good trend today for most of the day. They've been trending back to the west, and it looks like that's starting to fill in. There's still a few that are out here, a few that are actually pretty close to Citrus County. We'll have to see what that trend looks like, but we had 2 distinct ones over here and over here. And this is kind of starting to blend back towards the left. So if that happens, that's great news for us. The further we keep that offshore, the less weather we will get here from it. What's steering it? This big trough. This is a ridge of high pressure. That's a ridge of high pressure. Storms coming around aren't going to run right into that. It's like, boom, it'll bounce right off of it. They're not going to run into that ridge either, but it's going to come around and see the weakness in between that ridge, and it's going to go, okay, I'll come right up into here. Now, this isn't going to get quite picked up because that ridge is not deep enough to pick this up. Franklin is getting picked up out ahead of it, but it is enough to pull it to the north and then eventually kick it out towards the east. That'll help speed it up just a little bit as well, too. So the difference that you may see from the European model versus the GFS model has a lot to do with that. The GFS thinks that trough's a little bit further back here, in fact, almost to East Texas. The European's a little bit further. The weakness is a little bit over here. And so basically that means it thinks it's not pulling on it. It's going to push it a little bit more towards the right. Here are the 2 models. Let's compare them. White lines are the GFS, the European in the yellow. You can see what happens by tomorrow morning. Now watch what happens as it gets out into tomorrow night. This is 1:30 in the morning, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Big time strong storm from the GFS. The European's faster, further to the east. Let's take it out to 8 a.m. on Wednesday. GFS way back to the left. European, that's still not terrible for us, but that's going to give us some more storm surge up towards Crystal River and then making landfall, and then it moves to the north and east. So that's one set of models, right? The global models, we call those. This model right here has been in pretty good agreement with the European, maybe a little to the left of it throughout the last couple of days. This afternoon, around 6 o'clock, the latest run came in. Let me show you that. That's what we're looking at. 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, rain bands start to come in. Starts to get breezy in the afternoon and gradually getting breezier as the afternoon and evening wear on. At the same time, you'll start to see rain bands coming through. You get some gusty winds when those rain bands come through. You get a little bit of a break. More bands come through, and again, winds constantly getting higher. Look at those rain bands by about 8 o'clock tomorrow night. That'll be some heavy rainfall. Winds will certainly be picking up by that point. Now, 12:30 a.m. Wednesday, late tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, this center is much closer. Look at the wind. And that's after midnight. That's when the wind will start blowing water onshore. That is when our storm surge issue becomes more of a big deal. So tomorrow afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, it becomes a tornado threat. We'll probably have a tornado watch. We'll start to see some bands coming through, get a little bit breezy. Storm surge doesn't get going until overnight, Tuesday night into Wednesday. It depends on how close it gets. That's too close. This could have winds in excess of about 100, 120 mile per hour winds around that eye wall. That's not far off the coast of Pinellas and Pasco counties for this particular model run. That would be a major storm surge issue. Right now we're going 4 to 7 foot in the Tampa Bay area, 8 to 12 there. If that were to happen, it could be a little bit more. This is one of the only models that I've seen that's been that close, so I want to keep an eye on it, all right? It flip-flopped late this afternoon into the evening hours. This is from the Hurricane Center, their forecast, and you can see they keep the hurricane force winds in the red well offshore. The highest winds will be right around the center, less the further you go. That's just how hurricanes work. But by 5 a.m., I mean, you can see we've got a lot of wind still pushing here. 40, 50 mile per hour winds, gusts in the 60s. That's mainly just away from the coast. Gusts will be 70s, 80s right along the immediate coast and could get higher than that. And the Hurricane Center is saying, no, National Weather Service saying 100, 120 for Pinellas County and points northward. That would be gusts, right? Not sustained winds, but could see some high gusts. I think they're closer 80, perhaps 100. And then you can see it moves on out. So it's not necessarily the models are flip-flopping. This model, our in-house model, is called the Graph. It's gone from being much further offshore to much closer, and that will increase our wind. So you've seen a couple coming up here. You've seen more that are out here, and you get the idea. Whichever one gets closer to us is one that's going to give us more wind, rain, and storm surge from it. The timing still will be tomorrow, late afternoon, conditions going downhill. You're getting your preps going. You want to have them done by lunchtime on Tuesday, tomorrow. Chance of seeing at least tropical storm force winds. That is about 75 to 85% chance, especially along the immediate coast. See the darker reds right here. And look how your chances drop as you work your way inland. So Polk County, Hardy, DeSoto, you know, small chances for that. However, don't forget, I think that by 7 to 8 p.m. Tuesday, tomorrow evening, this time, we'll start to see tropical storm force winds, right? They will let up and come down below about 39 miles per hour or so about 10 in the morning on Wednesday, maybe 11 in the morning. So that's the time frame that we were looking at. Here is our storm surge warning up and down the coast. Storm surge is literally the wind blowing the Bay or the Gulf of Mexico so hard that it blows the water right up the beach and into the houses. This happens out on the beaches that we think of, but it also happens in the Bay, especially up in the northern Bay. You get up towards Oldsmar, you get up towards downtown Tampa as well. 4 to 7 foot storm surge is what we're thinking in the Bay area, less south, more the further north you go. Anywhere, if the center comes in like this, you're going to get 8 to 12 right in there. That's Crystal River right there. Possibly 8 to 12 foot of storm surge. That would do a lot of damage there. This is the forecast for rain, 4 to 7 inches. Some areas will get a little bit more. It depends on when it trains, which means the rain band keeps going like this, like this, like this over the same area. So people just to the right of it, just to the west of it don't get as much, but that one area in the middle can get inundated. And that is something that we watch when you see that localized 8 inches plus. That's what we're talking about for that. So highest numbers you can see clearly right along the immediate coast. We'll see the highest rain chances, highest rain amounts, excuse me. Less rain as you work your way for inland locations. So need to get prepared, continue to get prepared. The models will flip-flop just a little bit. We will get another track at 11 p.m., another full update at 11 p.m., another discussion. They'll tell us what they're thinking about steering and everything. And, of course, we're going to update you right here on 10 Tampa Bay, keep you updated throughout the whole situation here. Protect your home. Get that ready to go by midday tomorrow. If you go into a shelter, make sure they take pets. If you have your pets, get your go bag ready to go. That's all your important documents, insurance, birth certificates, passports, social security cards, all that stuff. Get it all in a waterproof bag or something so you can grab it if you're asked to go. Looks like evacuations in Pinellas and Hillsborough are level A. Pasco is A, B, and C. All right, so you're going to want to leave if they've asked you to do so and follow those evacuation orders just so that everybody stays safe. All right, guys, we're going to make it through this again tomorrow night into early on Wednesday morning. It's going to be the bumpiest ride of this hurricane, which I think will be Hurricane Idalia here later tonight.